You sound so cheerful. You sound so cheerful. I'm Reza of Collinwood for YouTube, and I am joined by Christine Pierce, Cara Tillitz, Gordon Dymowski, Patrick McCray. We're here to discuss Dark Shadows episode 718, narrated by narrated by Grayson Hall, written by her husband Sam Hall, directed by Henry Kaplan.
Sammy.
So, Gordon, you picked this episode, buddy. I watched it today. Why'd you pick it?
Why'd I pick it? For a couple of reasons. One, Laura Parker's Angelique. Two, Grayson Hall is Magda. And three, it was an episode number above 211. No, but I think this episode, it's early in the 1897 7 arc, and I like the fact that I love my favorite scene is the scene in the early on with Barnabas and Angelique, because I think that says a lot about who they are at this point, but also it manages to do that. It has kind of the requisite, hey, just because you're here can change things, maybe be careful. And it also lays a couple of really interesting, I don't know if the writers intended this or if they just threw these out, if Sam Hall just threw these out hoping someone else would pick it up. But we learned about Barnabas possibly being staked later on. And we also learned about how Quentin was a spy in Alexandria.
Yeah.
So I think this is an episode that does a lot in a very deft manner.
Ladies?
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the first time, Barnabas had met Angelique in 1897. And, last time he saw her was when they burned her, when he went back in to save Victoria. But before that, it was Cassandra. So he had just been through this whole Cassandra thing and then met up with her again in his own proper time. And now he's seeing her again. Is there literally no way to get rid of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Are you following me?
Yeah, it was kind of an intense scene, and it did give us a good picture of how this relationship was going to be, even though we could probably already guess, given our history with Barnabas and Angelique so far.
Yeah, but he pointed out in that episode that, like, when she showed him, out the window, like, this is your fate, this is your last night here, and if it wasn't for her being there, that is how he would have.
Yeah. That's how he did end up, except at the end, Angelique intervened, and helped and made the doppelganger to where that wasn't actually going to happen, but that's how it would have ended had he not accepted her help.
Yeah.
Or if she hadn't.
How much do you think she knew about that? Do you think she knew that she was also going to be intervening to humanize him?
Probably.
Because she had a lot of foreknowledge.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, if she knew that's how it was going to end, she probably knew that she was going to help too. So
yeah,
it was a trick. Yeah. We're really good at that.
What did you?
Jewel, this reminded me of when you and I met, and it was at that audition for Chicago, and we were both going out to play Velma. We were both trying out for Velma, and and I got nothing. And you got, mama. So, it just, but it was funny because Venus by Bananarama started playing, and we both reached for our phones because that was our ringtones at the same time. And we knew we'd be friends. Anyway, so as I was saying, yeah, why? My God, why wouldn't you pick this episode? It has everything. This is one of those wonderful coarse sample of just everything good in Dark Shadows. It's, one of my favorite cliches of the day book, because that's all I really write in, just kind of mix and match, is a great episode of Dark Shadows to start out with. Because if you really, if you think of a pilot as not necessarily being something that sets up the story, although it does, but being a sampler, a poo-poo platter, if you will, of everything good that the show has to offer. Wow, you couldn't do a better job. I even have David Hennessy in this thing, and you got Magda, and that two-hander at the beginning with Barnabas and Angelique. What a wonderfully unpredictable, mature, interesting scene that touches upon, this flashy ending moment from their, Christmas special the year before, and really just a few months before. And picking up with perfect continuity from that. It's a good pro-Satan episode because she says, "Oh yeah, he tried to burn me. My guy's powers are they're a lot stronger than a match. I'm sorry. Ben Stokes and a tiki torch is powerful, especially depending on what he's been drinking. But is stronger, and you got to keep that faith. So I think that was cool. Yeah, we find out some stuff about Quentin. We get a really interesting ambiguity about what Quentin is willing to do, and maybe this is just me reading into it, but sort of, he hypnotizes Jameson and does sort of horrible things, but he could do worse things, and he doesn't. Right. To get his way, and there still is this element of avuncular play, which sounds like a magazine I never want to subscribe to, and so it has so much. It's thoughtful, it's character driven, it's charming, it's supernatural. It deals with very heavy issues of time travel. And all of the implications of, messing with the timeline. Oh, who cares? There's only one thing. I don't care about the timeline as long as David's okay. Right. What do I owe the timeline? And I thought that was terrific. And it was this is a really good touchstone episode in terms of, Gordon, I think, as you said, not touchstone, Rosetta Stone for the relationship of Barnabas and Angelique, especially for 1840 to come, and kind of setting that up years ahead of time. Of course, they didn't know they were going to be doing that, and all of that, but wow, they still did a marvelous job anyway. And hats off to Sam.
Yeah. And I think it's telling that, the line that Barnabas gives to Angelique when she says, "I gave you a curse for a reason," is he says, "Because I could not love you. Not, I do not love you. I've never loved you. I could not love you." And I think in that there is, I can be a bit pedantic when it comes to word choice in literature and television, but I think that is very specific. Because what I think it says is, I think in his mind, there's that it's the suggestion of Steve that he couldn't love her then, but yet he could love her at some other point, and that maybe his feelings are not, he can't express what they are, but he knows that the reason why she, that the reason why she reached out is that because at the time he couldn't love it. We don't know if it's because of family pressures, and I think it also suggests, and this is my personal headcanon, I think that Barnabas and Angelique's relationship in Martinique, it was more than just a one-time, no strings deal. I think there's an actual emotional affair there, which I wish later Dark Shadows had picked up on. But I think, and I like the fact that it plays with the idea. It's not the fatal attraction, woman scorned, spoil your bunny phenomenon. There's a real complexity to this relationship.
I think it's the first time for me that I see how romantically driven Angelique is. And it's yeah, as you said, the boil the bunny business, sous vide, that it's not just, oh, this is the thing I can't have, well, then I shall become obsessed with it. Sort of this, anti-Four Noble Truths, thing that she has going on. So, and that's that, there's just something about the way Angelique appears in the episode that just to me, maybe it's because I love that amazing dress on her. But that just seems more romantic. It seems warmer. It seems like she has evolved a little bit. She has ordered her own feelings out, somewhat. And it's like, Barnabas, I got anywhere in the timeline I could go to. I could be, dress up like Morgana Le Fay right now. And I'm not. I'm here for you. You middle-aged Maine goofball. So pay attention, jerky.
Yeah.
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 Can I give you a theory about this time period?
Yes.
I think Angelique shows up whether Barnabas does or not.
So it's like she was already there waiting for him, type feel.
Yeah.
Because if you're on a mission from your boss, who is the devil, then you're going to be on that mission no matter what.
She's off the clock.
Well,
she's off the clock.
Yeah, I think Angelique is the kind of character who's like, I think now that I don't think she's a creature of linear time, not like Barnabas and everyone else is. I think, there's probably, I'm sure that if this were made now and you had like a parallel streaming services, you'd have the time traveling adventures of Angelique, where like one day she'd show up like on the Universal lot on the set of Quantum Leap, giving Scott Bakula acting advice.
God.
On another, she's like in Rome, like messing with Julius Caesar. On another, she's like on a space station, fighting aliens. So I don't think Angelique is ever
the greatest.
I think she's rarely on a mission. I think this is just her saying, you know what, I'm going to go to 1897 because why the hell not?
And we've only really seen her on a mission once, and that was when she was on assignment to 1968. To create a master race, and so she took a temp gig, basically.
Yeah.
Well, here, when she's summoned out of hell, I mean, as much as I love Quentin and Evan Hanley, I'm not going to give them the credit they deserve for summoning her. I think she was released out of hell more than summoned out of it.
Her time was up.
That's what I mean by the devil sent her there. That you're allowed, because if you're going to tell me that, okay, Quentin and Evan Hanley, they can be great occult experts, no doubt. But if you're going to tell me their words are more powerful than the devil, we have a real pecking order problem.
Well, of course, I'm not going to sit here and disrespect the devil, Jewel, and you know that.
And you know what? And you know what, Jewel? I'm sure Angelique has her like little magic TV, and she sees Quentin and Evan doing their magic thing. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to mess with these people. These two idiots. I'm going to show them. They are wannabes. They are posers."
I could see
Yes.
And if she's following, if she's subscribed to, the Barnabas channel, I mean, for one thing, she's probably getting a lot of, skin treatment after, 1790, whatever, when, Barnabas comes back and does the time trap sequence. So she's got some moments, in hell at the spa, kind of just getting her groove back. And she tunes in and she says, "Oh God, I don't want to deal with Chris Jennings and all of that. And what will Roger expect? I could go back to get my outfits, but they're all stretched out. by Louis. Thanks. You know, and I got to explain that to Orbox. And so, because it's not Junior Sophisticate's time anymore. I'm sorry. And so, you know, she's not really going to get involved with that, but it's like, oh, Barnabas is on vacation. Maggie's not around. Julia's not around. I think I might finally be able to have a conversation with him, you know, over a daiquiri, you know, on the Lido deck. And so she kind of like, oh, good, they called. Now I have an excuse. And she uses that. It's like, oh, why, you happened to summon me. How coincidental. Oh, and Barnabas is here? I had no idea. How is the old rascal doing? You know.
Right. I think her knowing about, you know, future events too kind of supports the theory that she can just kind of pop whenever she wants to, whenever an opportunity presents itself, you know. And I think that, you know, that Evan Hanley and Quentin was an opportunity to present itself, and there she was, you know. And then, you know, she realized Barnabas was there. Oh, well, he doesn't know that he's going to be staged, but, you know, now I'm here, now I can jump in and help. And, you know, she probably saw that forward too. So I don't know. I don't think she's linear either, but I don't know.
There's a chance she had dinner with Grayson and Sam 2 weeks before, so she knew what was coming up.
Right. She knew the plan.
Learning that Quentin, I like the fact that we learn about Quentin, that he worked with, he says, as he puts it to Jameson, I didn't really want to work with the police, but I had to, and he didn't really want to tell him anything more. He was a spy for the Egyptian police, or whatever you want to call them.
I've used that excuse many times.
Yeah,
what are you doing here? I'm a spy for the Egyptian police. Okay.
Yeah, I still have my spy for the Egyptian police badge. It gets you a lot of free rides on the CTA.
Indeed.
I will. And he does, it feels like he doesn't want to tell Jameson something. I don't know if the writers had the Phoenix planned yet for 1897, but it's a little bit of a tease too, which I like in this episode, that, hey, Egypt, police, there's something going on. We know he went to Egypt with Edward's wife. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's what I like about this episode. It lays these little bits. And the Alexandria reference could just as easily have been Sam saying, okay, well, you know, he's throwing darts in a map, and he's like, well, okay, Quentin was a spy for the police in Bay City. No, that's better for a name for a Scottish bubblegum pop group in the 70s. Yeah. Where we can go, Alexandria. So, and it can just as easily be, yeah, they're thinking of reviving the Laura storyline, the Phoenix storyline, as much as it is, well, let's just throw this interesting little tidbit and see what happens with it.
Yeah. And it did kind of go there, you know, with calling on Baal and calling on the god Ra and all that. It did kind of take a little bit of root there. Yeah. So, yeah. And then it kind of paved the path to bring Laura back, you know. So, you know.
What did you ladies think about Grayson Hall's Magda and her interaction with Jameson, who's trying to get information out of her?
I love her. I just love her.
Yeah.
She was way more patient in her impatient way than I would have ever been.
Yeah.
It's like it is not your beeswax where Barnabas is.
It's one of those rare moments, like, you know, Magda's she's a tough girl.
Yeah.
And like she does have her soft spots, like, you know, for her sister Jenny, for the kids. Like, you just see that little softness in her that I think really molds her into who she really is.
Yeah, it gives Magda a lot of depth.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just being a gypsy who
or like even with Sandor, how she just melts when he comes into the room. Like, I love it.
Like so human, but, you know, so what's the word I'm looking for? Will do anything for $1 and wants $1 for everything she does. You know. So,
you know, they have kids, and whether or not Xandor does it on purpose, he at least pretends not to notice that their kids look a lot like Istvan. And I think that's marvelous. I think that's one of the many things that she loves about him. So, he just whether he knows or not, he's not gonna bring it up because they're his in here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Istvan's not talking.
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
That's what she loved about him.
Jordan, what did you think?
I just love Magda.
Yeah.
I think it's it's in a story where all the characters are uptight, they're haunted, they're everything else. Magda is just like, hey, this is my show. Like I am sure that during this time, like Sam probably wrote these scripts because it was like, okay, Grayson's a little bored at work. I'm going to make her happy. I mean, she basically ripped Jameson a new one in a very polite way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then at the end where Quentin comes in and she just freaks out with, "You've got the mark of death." I mean, Magda is one of I think she's probably my second favorite character besides Angelique. My favorite female character, because they're just so rich and so and Paul plays it to the hilt. I mean, she's just she's just like, okay, I got the black wig on, I've got the dark questionable makeup. Let's just let her rip and see what happens.
Yes. Yeah. She did. Man, she was incredible. Just Magda all over. I loved her so much. Yeah.
Her accent too was really, really good.
Accent.
Yeah, like her voice, the way she's doing her
I didn't
voice.
notice. I thought that was
The
her
way
name.
she's
Yeah, I thought Grayson Hall was putting on an accent when she was doing Dr. Hoffman.
That was sort of yeah. No, that was she just it's her Ohio accent.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where you're coming from, Joel.
Oh my god! What did you guys think? Because David does say about he hears a sound coming from the basement, and that's when Magda is trying to sort of get him off topic, and like you didn't, so we know, Barnabas. It's probably Barnabas down there, and Magda's just trying to usher Jameson out. Like, no, just go. And then the cane goes missing. Barnabas's cane gets taken by Jameson. Can you rate Jameson's theft skills here, girls?
Oh my
he
gosh.
gets it.
He does.
He does. I mean, he successfully gets it. So I mean,
Mission accomplished.
But it counts.
Yeah.
we know now where from.
And I think he was just lucky to get that moment where he had Magda distracted and zoomed out.
Why do I get the feeling that Jameson grew up to be a bootlegger in the 1920s?
Because he probably did.
Probably.
I forget, what are the sounds that is it like Barnabas gargling as he's like brushing his teeth and getting ready in the morning, and
he hears something opening and closing, and that's what he's hearing. I think he's hearing the coffin, but
Barnabas is fly.
Yeah, something. He hears something opening and closing, and he says, "Oh, I heard something." And again, Magda's just trying to no, get out.
It's just the wind.
Yeah,
it's just the wind.
Yeah. It's just Sandor with an irpy tummy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Sandor's rowing machine. Pay no attention. He likes to work out. He's a body of chiseled dough.
Out of all, because there's a lot in 1897, what's everybody's favorite special effect in 1897?
Oh my god.
Dark Shadows doesn't have special effects. It has very special effects.
Yes.
The special effect in 1890s. Oh, Evan Hanley's weird face.
Yeah.
Yeah. The death look on Quentin.
Yeah. The dead skeleton face.
Well, that's a good one.
Gordon?
I don't know. The transformation of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hard part is I don't really think of special effects in Dark Shadows. I mean, it's not. I mean, I love the Mark of Death effect at the end of this episode. I'd have to say the two musical they're really not special effects sequences, but the two musical, the I Want to Dance with You and the Shadows of the Night, because Dark Shadows does surrealism and moody surrealism really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Yeah. I like Count Patefe's hand, how they move it around. It's simple, it's cheap, but it's effective. It's like this hand has a mind of its own. And it
Yeah.
gives you that it gives you that illusion of it by them moving it around.
Yeah.
So, in this episode, what did you think of not just Quentin's? What did you ladies think of Quentin's spy story?
I feel throughout the whole when from the time Quentin comes in, we hear all these things like that he discovered or he got into. Like, I mean, you see even like a little bit of like warlock tendencies come out in him in this episode, like with the hypnosis with Jameson, and we don't get to see him actually in action a lot throughout the series like that, and I liked when they gave us just little snippets of that. Like,
I'm not entirely sure I buy his spy story, to be honest. I kind of think it was a story he told Jameson just to get Jameson on the train.
agreed.
Because he wanted Jameson to spy for him. And, I was a spy and Jameson loves Quentin. Jameson will follow Quentin until the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
And so I think he was lying.
Yeah.
There are things I can't tell you, Jameson. I work for the FBI.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've fallen for that one.
It's not for child's ears. Oh, okay. But this is Jameson we're talking about. you
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah, it's
Just-
yeah. I think it was a clever. It was a story, but the Alexandria part was true.
Oh yeah.
And because
Yeah.
I think Quentin Collins is the kind of dude who believes that snitches get stitches. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They sure do, and that's true.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I sort of want. I know they're going to turn Quentin into a werewolf. I'm sort of wondering with all the black magic and the occult. I'm sort of wondering if they were subconsciously thinking about just turning Quentin into a full-on spellcaster, a full-on warlock himself.
I don't think so. And
Right.
I'll tell you why. I think that gives him too much power.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to put soap opera characters in danger. You want to be able to put them into peril. And this gives him just enough sort of power and ability to then show how he restrains himself later on when he develops more and more of a moral center instead of Nugent.
Yeah, and I think too, since they hired Selby to essentially be like a second lead, in the vein of Fred, you want to start him at one extreme of morality, where he's the prodigal son, he's the black sheep. He comes home, and here's where you see where it tells you on a little bit of how morally questionable Quentin is. That he's willing to attack his cousin with voodoo. He's willing to manipulate his nephew. And we learn more and more. But
I love that guy.
How can you not?
And then when you get to the point where he learns that he had kids and both are dead, where you have that transformation, you can see that's where his moral arc starts to go upward. So I don't think I don't think they would have risked having Quentin as a full-on magician, full-on spellcaster, warlock, whatever. I think they might have reserved that, used that idea later on for, say, Gerard Stiles, where maybe they took out the spellcasting, but someone who is so inherently evil and duplicitous that it's a natural that a Judah Zachary would want to take over him.
Yeah.
Well, and given that we already have a vampire on scene, we already have Angelique on scene, who's already a powerful witch, or would be if she could get over her feelings for Barnabas.
Yeah.
And then later on, we'll have Laura, who comes back as the Phoenix, and it might have been,
And Nicholas Blair, for that matter.
and Evan Hanley.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like in this 1897. So it may have been, Overload. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I kind of like it the way they had him, kind of dabbling, but, and not really all that good at it, but.
It's weird. It allows Quentin in a lot of ways he's an incredibly powerful character, but compared to the other characters, he's just a guy, and he almost is the audience surrogate in all of this. Think of how quickly he's gone from being this exotic ghost to being somebody, he's trying to get through the day and get that will,
And he loves his booze.
He loves that just makes him an American. And a good one.
Oh my God.
Overall.
Did you ladies name your favorite special effect? I'm sorry.
Yes, they named it Bernard.
Yeah. Barnabas.
His name is Matt. Yeah. His name is Matt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have any more questions about this episode. I don't think I do. Is there anything anybody wants to add about it?
More episodes like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
A lot was achieved in just a little bit of time. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this episode, no cannibalism.
Totes.
Right. Sorry, Jill.
Sorry, Jill. Almost, but not quite.
Oh my God. No, I don't. That's the thing about Dark Shadows. You're not going to get cannibalism, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The thing about cannibalism, though, too, you don't have to show it for it to be there.
Jewel, considering there's a kitchen behind you, that's a very ominous statement.
Is that why you blacked out your camera earlier? I'm just wondering.
What were you doing?
Yeah, I had to get rid of Julie somehow.
Tell her you
This is
Shame.
God.
Okay. Oh my
Terrible.
God.
Was
Once
she a
again,
burner, a
we have to
barrier, or
stand
an
up for
eater?
your marriage. What? Gordon, what'd you say?
I asked, is she a burner, a barrier, or an eater? It's a Monty Python reference.
This is what I get for being a Benny Hill man.
She's one of a kind. That's what she is. But I really like the fact that the writers, with their little spy story, whether they and I do think they realize it in a sense by talking to Jameson, by him telling Jameson that spy story, building some sort of sympathy toward Quentin, even though there hasn't been a whole bunch for him, because we're still fairly, with this episode with 718, we're still fairly new to 1897 when you first watched it, and we see this guy who's very much about himself, and then you hear this story about, I was in Alexandria, I had to spy for the police, and then when Laura shows, when he gets that cable about Laura, it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then the look on Selby's face when he reads that thing too is priceless. But that's not in this episode, but it's still good. Let's see. How's Sunday for everybody here?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Gordon? I'm gonna forgo my pick and let the ladies pick an episode.
Ooh, cool. Oh,
Oh my God.
done. All right,
Yeah.
done.
I want to go Gerard Styles era here. I want to go a little further in here.
Sounds
So,
good to me.
yeah.
We'll pick one and let you know as soon as possible.
Okay,
So-
yes. Please let us know so we can watch it before
Yeah.
Sunday night, 10:30. I'll see you all then. And enjoy the rest of your week, folks.
Yes,
You
you too.
too. See you Sunday.
Bye.